morning. I decided to do my research article or my response to an article on getting started with literature circles in the classroom. My article was written by Lori Gilbert. She's a fifth grade teacher, and she basically takes us through the process of how she first introduced her students to literature circles. What she decided to do was she decided to introduce literature circles by not necessarily telling them, okay guys, today we're going to do literature circles. She started off with making sure that she had the appropriate resources, and that was picture books. Okay, so she read with her fifth grade students picture books. And as a teacher, you would think, why do picture books with fifth grade students? However, believe it or not, they were able to read the picture books and have a discussion about the picture books. Her main goal was getting her kids used to having discussions, and that's exactly what she did. So once her students got in the movement of having discussions and being able to relate to her other students, that is when she kicked off with what her students were going to do. So she explained to her students that you have discussed, you're used to having discussions with one another, so we're going to do literature circles. Literature circles, she basically put them in a group and she gave every one of her students a role. Okay, once she realized that the students understood their role, she introduced a piece of literature to them. They read the literature and they were all able to respond to one another. Okay, so that is how she got her kids used to understanding literature circles. Then she went on to talk about how she assessed her students, which I thought was awesome. She allowed her students to basically grade themselves, and I think that's a great idea because who wouldn't want to grade themselves, right? One will argue that you shouldn't allow students to grade themselves because they may not be completely honest. However, like teachers, we always have our own plan in the back of our head. So yes, she let the kids grade themselves, but then she turned around and said, well, you know what? I'm going to give them the overall grade. So she introduced them to the literature circle. She got them used to it, got them used to discussing, and she allowed them to read a literature. She gave them their roles, and them discussing with one another wasn't too hard after all. Okay. Another important fact that she gave in the article was that as teachers, our role is not to take them every step of the way. Our role is just to be a guide. You give them the questions and you allow them to create the discussion. Okay. Would I use this strategy in my classroom? Of course, I would use this strategy in my classroom. I wouldn't use it right off I wouldn't use it right off bat because I work with students where my students are considered to be struggling readers. However, I do believe that all students have the ability to learn, and we should not handicap them because of their reading deficiency. So like Miss Lori Gilbert, I would do the same thing. I would not necessarily use picture books because I'm an 8th grade teacher, but I would bring something that they're able to relate to, whether it's a type of music, a type of genre of music, or something that will engage their thinking and allow them to discuss with one another. Once I see that my kids are able to discuss and we're able to relate to one another and connect whatever it is we're talking about, I will then introduce them to literature circles. So indeed, I did feel like this is a great article, and yes, I will incorporate using literature circles in my classroom. It will be a challenge, but who's not up for the challenge? I am. Thank you.